Good morning, everyone. Good morning, NADEC Mid Atlantic Region. Hope everyone is doing well today. Happy Wednesday to all. We are just giving everybody a minute or two to log on. We have plenty of people already in here, which is phenomenal. We're just giving everybody a minute or so to get started here. But we have an excellent webinar planned for all the DEC members across the Mid-Atlantic states. It's great to see companies and individuals here from South Carolina all the way to Virginia and Delaware. It's great to see everybody logging in, and we'll have a chance to talk about some great companies in your region that are using online tools to help them drive their export sales brand business. So let's just give it just another minute or so, and then I'll go ahead and introduce the panels, give you guys a sense of what our agenda is going to be for the day, and we'll get started. So we'll just give it one more minute till 10:03, and we'll get started then. Just give it one quick minute. We always have the stragglers. They're trying to find the link to get on here, but looks like we have just about everyone. All right. All right, perfect. We'll get started. So, hi everyone. My name is Adrian Viller. I am head of business development for IBT Online, personally based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And it is my pleasure today to be joined by two of the most intelligent people that I personally know. And one of those is someone who is very known to you, of course. It is your vice chair and president of Advanced Super Abrasives, Jonathan Szucs. So Jonathan, good morning to you. And I'm also joined this morning by our senior online marketing manager, Joelle Lazzarotto. Joelle, good morning to you as well.
Good morning, everyone.
Excellent. Great to have you guys. We have an awesome panel with some rock stars today, and we'll be sharing with you some insights on some of the tools that are available to you, online tools to help you grow your exports. Just to give you a sense of who we are and why we're doing this to get started, let me tell you a little bit about just IBT Online from a 30,000-foot view, and then I'll introduce today's agenda and get going. But IBT Online is a digital marketing agency. We're a private company based here in the United States that is 100% focused on building, hosting, managing, and maintaining online tools for our clients to help them grow their businesses. These tools fall under two categories: website development and online marketing, both of which we'll talk about today. And perhaps the greatest unique selling point is that we work, think, and act globally and online, and have done so for our clients since our creation in 2002. And that has merited us winning the President's E Award for Export Services in 2020, which we're extremely proud of. Now, in terms of today's agenda, what we'll do is that we're going to start with just a little bit about the National Association of District Export Councils, and we'll talk about NADEC and what NADEC is doing for the region. Then I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about why Mid-Atlantic exporters need online business development tools and what those tools are. Then I'll pass it on to Jonathan to talk about how he's used online business development tools to help his company, Advanced Super Abrasives, keep growing in spite of the global pandemic and despite of the travel restrictions that's presented. Then I'll jump back on and talk a little bit about website localization, and then my colleague Joelle is going to talk about international online marketing tools before we take your questions. But of course, the chat is open, and you guys will see that on your dashboard. If you have any questions at any time during the presentation, feel free to pop those in the chat, and we'll address those towards the end of the meeting, where we will have some dedicated time for that. So with that in mind, and thanking again, Jonathan, and thanking the National Association of District Export Councils for sponsoring this particular webinar, I would like to pass it on to Jonathan and for him to introduce a little bit about what the National Association of District Export Councils does and how it's related to what we're talking about today. So Jonathan, over to you.
Thank you, Adrian, and thank you, Joel. Thank you, everybody, for attending. This is Jonathan Szucs with Advanced Super Braces, but you're vice chair of the NADEC. And hopefully all of you know what the NADEC is and what we do, but if you don't, I'm just going to go over it real close, or real quickly, actually. So all the decks are set into regions, and there's 8 regions across the United States. And every year we have elections for the NADEC, and one person from each region selected every year or elected every year to represent that region nationally. And the NADEC does a number of functions. We act as a conduit to Washington, D.C. and upper levels of commerce. We put on annual export conferences. We do a lot of different things, networking and different activities and trade advocacy and trade education and things like that. But the biggest thing the NADEC's done in this past year is bring decks together, and not only regionally but across the country. And we do that through our conferences and stuff. But we've had to branch out and say, with the pandemic and not being able to meet in Washington D.C., how can we as the NADEC help NADEC regions actually come together? And one of the thoughts was, well, why don't we have regional webinars? Why don't we have regional quarterly meetings? So some of you probably have been to the NADEC regional meetings for the Mid Atlantic or other regions. And those have been great meetings. And then that has led to NADEC members being invited to local meetings. But these webinars are really a new thing because it doesn't only help DEC members, it helps the companies that you DEC members are going to be talking to. And that's really what the most important project for the NADEC is to grow exports. I mean, that's why we're all appointed to be DEC members, is to grow exports around the country. We all mentor companies. I know some of you do a lot with trade policy and gathering information and learning about, whether it's Ambassador Tai's remarks the other day, or whether it's the 301 tariffs that they're looking at again, all the different things that are going on, US, UK, free trade agreements. And so, we want to bring the local DECs in each region, and then the businesses in those regions, information to help them grow exports. So what better way to start in the middle of a pandemic than start with something on international trade and website globalization? I mean, if the pandemic didn't teach us anything, it was the importance of the internet and e-commerce and being nimble and being able to get on Zoom calls, which I'm sure a lot of you are like me, have that Zoom fatigue at this point of, I see my friends on a computer screen, but when can I go and shake their hands? And, hopefully the answer is soon. Same thing with our customers, but we cannot, discount the fact that things have changed since the pandemic. More and more people are shopping online. More and more people are looking for information online. And this is not only true domestically, it's true internationally. So how do you, as a DEC member or as a business person or as a business owner or as somebody who's mentoring businesses, how do you help companies or help yourself and your company to grow your exports internationally? And the answer to that question, obviously, the first part of it is through website globalization. So the NADEC will be continuing to do webinars on assorted topics. This is our first topic because it is the most prevalent right now as we're still in the middle of the pandemic, in that companies need to look at their websites not only domestically but internationally and help grow their exports internationally. Future webinars will probably be on things like supply chain issues. I'm sure if I could see all of your hands, everybody would raise their hands that say they all are having port issues. They're all having supply chain issues of some sort. So yeah, we'd love to do a webinar on that. We'd love to do webinars on other issues as well. But today's topic is really something that companies can be working on that aren't working on it, or that can benefit companies right now. Having a webinar on the port issues is great. We could talk about a lot of things, but I don't know how much we can actually do. This is actually actionable items. So the information you're going to get from this webinar is things that then you can take and put into effect. And I'm very happy and proud to be working with IBT Online. Full disclosure, IBT Online did my international websites. So you're not only going to hear from somebody who is an NADEC member, but also uses IBT's expertise in their services and has been for almost a year now. We're right there, right at that cusp of a year. And I can tell you it's been a great experience. So I just wanted to share this experience to all of our Mid-Atlantic DEC members and companies in the Mid-Atlantic DEC region. And just know there's going to be more to come. The NADEC is working on all kinds of things for DEC engagement. You know, how do we help you guys? How do we help the NADEC and DECs get stronger? How do we grow exports? And I just think that today's topic really fits where we're at and where we're going. And I'm just so happy that we can do this for you all. And we are going to try to do this in all the regions for the NADEC, but just so proud that the Mid-Atlantic was the first region. So you guys are the pioneers of this in the Mid-Atlantic region. Be proud, you know, because you're the first ones to do this. And I just really look forward to a great webinar with all of you. And I want to thank Joelle and Adrian as well, because their expertise. I've worked with Joelle hand in hand for about a year and work with her every month, several times. Sometimes we'll be on call on twice in a week just to do different things. So I hope you all get a lot out of this webinar. And, you know, please feel free. Any questions that you have, put them in the chat. Let us know. Use this time, because this is your time. This is your time, Mid-Atlantic DEC region. This is your time. Nobody else's time. This is your time. So if you have questions, if you need answers to things, let us know. We will answer them as best we can, because this is truly a webinar designed just for you. And so I'll turn it back over to Adrian and Joelle.
Of course, I muted myself. But Jonathan, thank you so much for that introduction into NADEC's outreach and into all the hard work and advocacy that you do for exporters across the United States, and in particular for the Mid-Atlantic region, especially in such a challenging export environment as there is right now across the world with all the logistical and supply chain issues. It's a true wonder what NADEC is doing. And that's why IBT Online is so proud to be a platinum sponsor of NADEC and to be supportive of all the efforts of all the regions. But we're especially proud of the fact that the Mid-Atlantic region is sort of the pilot for this specific topic and theme of conversation. So moving on to that, what I would like to talk about is just in general. Oh, Joelle, over to you.
Sorry, Adrian. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just thought, since, you know, before we move on, I just wanted to maybe launch a quick poll just to see who we've got in the audience today. I know that some of them might be Mid-Atlantic DEC members, maybe members of other DECs, or maybe companies that have joined us today to find out a little bit more about what we do, but also what NADEC does and what they can help them with. So if I just can steal the show for a second and launch a very quick poll. So who we've got in the audience today? Are you already a member of the Mid-Atlantic NADEC? Yes, not yet. And then just really try and engage who we get, who we have today, so then, you know, we can tailor some of the information. And absolutely echo Jonathan's point. Any questions, please do send them through the Q&A box here at the side of your screen. We'll have a Q&A at the end. But if there is anything that we can touch upon or clarify as we go, then please do keep them coming. So fantastic response. I think we've got a strong presence of NADEC members, but also a few that are not or not yet, as they say. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm just going to close this and now hand over to Adrian as we move to the next section.
Perfect. Thank you, Joelle. So one question many of you may have at this moment is, why do exporters in the Mid-Atlantic region need online business development tools? And you know, Jonathan already sort of segued into that, but here's the reality. When we talk to businesses today, they talk to us about 4 things that are important to them in light of the challenges that have been presented by the pandemic and in light of the way that the market is developing at the moment. You know, first off, they're looking after their stakeholders. They're looking at managing costs and cash flow. They're looking at maintaining their supply chains and existing partnerships and hopefully growing those and diversifying them. But importantly, they're interested in keeping or generating more sales, more exports, and more business to keep, you know, the cash register going. And that is what online business development tools do. They help you grow your top line. So before we get to that, before we talk about how online business development tools generate revenue, let's talk a little bit about why online and why online tools can be effective. Because especially in the last 18 months, let's just call it, the world has gone online. We're all zoomed out, as we know, but that presents important business development opportunities. Hootsuite that collects a lot of data on this, and they're absolutely phenomenal. These are their figures as of July 2021, the world online, and an overview of global internet use. Just so you have an idea, more than 60%, 61% of the world is online. That's 4.8 billion people are online today across the world. And they're spending a lot of time online, just under 7 hours a day. That's pretty much the whole working day if you think of it. The biggest takeaway from this slide, I can tell you, is that across the world, your customers, your prospects, your leads, future distributors, future employees, future suppliers, future partners, they're all online. Everyone is interacting online, and most people are spending their entire business day online. And the market is only trending in one direction for this, and that is increasing. Just in the last year, 257 million people across the world joined the internet, and 520 million people joined social media networks in 2021. That's huge. And it's great news for small to mid-sized companies, because it means that there are cost-effective tools that allow you to punch above your weight. As stated on the previous slide, over 4.8 billion people are now online, and almost 4.5 billion of them are using social media. Most people are using social media on a mobile device, just like this one. Most people are playing around on their iPhones. And the average time that's spent online on social media platforms, 2.5 hours a day, is growing. And so that means that there's an awful lot of communicating and an awful lot of socializing going on these platforms. And companies have turned towards social media to communicate as well, to communicate with other companies, to communicate with prospects, to communicate with leads and future employees. This is, again, great news for any exporter, because it means that you know exactly where your clients, where your prospects are, and what they're doing. They're probably playing around on Instagram while they should be working. So now that we know that they're all online and social media, this not only presents opportunities for B2C companies, but presents very clear opportunities for B2B companies and even B2G companies, and all sorts of different routes to market. So truthfully, online is for everyone. It's not just for B2C, it is also very much so for B2B. What we have found is there are many companies in the B2B space that sometimes don't think that their online presence is that important, because they've relied on, let's just say, a more traditional routes to market. They've relied on business development techniques that are proven and tested. And that's worked very well, but the reality is that these online business development tools can help you exceed and grow a lot faster. This happens because of something or the perception that you don't need an online presence, or that your online presence is enough with what you have, is due to something that we call the perfectly engineered syndrome, which banks on the fact that your product is so wonderful that it sells itself, which is probably true if people are able to find it. So that is the challenge to it. How can the right people find your product, find your company, find your services? That is where the secret is. Today, it's more difficult, obviously, to meet in person because of COVID-19 and because of all the travel restrictions and vaccine requirements. And I just came back from a 2-week vacation in Spain, and I have never filed so many bits of paperwork, and I've never downloaded so many travel apps to my phone and had so many QR codes that needed to be scanned. It's just gotten so complicated to travel. So that obviously is a hindrance, and it's friction in a traditional sales process. And because of that, fewer people are traveling and going to trade shows. Trade missions have been canceled or have gone online. And so what that means is that you need an online presence that not only will showcase your products or services, the value and the benefits that you provide for companies, but also that it is keyword optimized, so that those people, the right people, your future clients, can actually find you in their market, in their native language. And finally, what I'll say here is that people who make purchases for their business are doing their due diligence online. They're doing their homework online. They're learning about your company, your products, and your competitors, importantly, online. If you think about 50% of, 94% of B2B purchases are researched before they ever contact a sales rep or a distributor. And then 70% of searches of those 94% that are started online, 70% start with generic search terms like CRM software or like marketing agency. They don't start with a brand specifically. So that's why keyword optimization is important. So when we talk about what those core online business development tools are, we're going to focus on two interconnected pieces. We're going to talk about websites, and we're going to talk about online marketing. Before it used to be absolutely fine just to have a core domestic US website in English, and you had, somebody come in, an intern or webmaster, do some keyword optimization every year, every 2 years. But now things are just a tiny bit more competitive in the digital world, as you can imagine, with just about everyone creating a website and the digital world just exponentially growing every year. Now, to be clear, you still need a very well-designed, optimized core US website with updated content and recent SEO work. But now the SEO work needs to be more recent. It needs to be checked and freshened up quarterly, monthly in some cases, especially if you have a lot of competition on keywords, and you need to have a well thought out planned online marketing strategy like structured social media and outreach campaigns. What all of this together does is that it encompasses a customer-centric approach to be sure that you can be found, you can be understood, and you can be easy to do business with, both in the US and in your top international markets. So let's take a look at what a successful strategy could actually look like. And here we have, think about your websites as digital real estate, okay? Your US website is the land, and then you build the improvements, right? You build buildings on the land, but you first need the land. So you need the website. You need a darn good website to start with. And then on that website, you're going to have an SEO policy, and you're going to have a social media strategy to drive traffic engagement and conversions on those websites. But now let's just say, as you see the example on the screen, your top international markets are Brazil and France. Well, guess what? For Brazil and France, you're going to need to buy real estate there. You're going to need to buy some land. You're going to need to build a website. And that website obviously has to speak to Brazilian consumers and Brazilian companies that want to do business with you. Same for the French website. It has to be in French and tailored to the taste of the French market. And around each of these websites, you're also going to have a dedicated and specialized SEO strategy and social media strategy to drive traffic engagement and conversions on those localized websites. Of course, branding is very important, and the consistency of branding is very important. So whether you're on the French or the Brazilian or the US website, it should look and feel the same so that everyone knows that they are visiting your company's website. But the content is going to be optimized for those local markets so that your communications can be more effective. So make sure you have the localized websites first, make sure you own the land first, and then you build your improvements on top of that. So to summarize here, just in terms of why you need localized websites and why you need online business development tools, just remember that the world has gone online. Having online business development tools can help you connect with future clients, future employees, future suppliers that search for you. They're looking generically for what you do in their local online environment and in their local language. So in this new normal, access to effective online business development tools is really essential to helping you get found and helping you be understood and helping you be easy to do business with in your target markets. And in that sense, IBT Online, with the support of many of the state trade agencies, including, for example, in North Carolina with the EDPNC, in Virginia with the VEDP, in Delaware with the state of Delaware with the Department of Commerce there. But we've developed programs there specifically for Mid-Atlantic companies, and those programs are designed essentially, the benefits are listed on the screen, but they're there to drive revenue. They're there to create revenue. And we're incredibly proud of the fact that we've won the Presidency Award in generating results and generating outcomes for our clients that are measurable. And we are incredibly happy as well to be sharing today's platform with NADEC and this presentation, and to have Jonathan Szucs, who is not only your vice chair, but he is also president at Advanced Super Abrasive, which, as he has said, he's partnered with us via the EDPNC for the past year, just shy of a year. And I'll let him actually talk a little bit about his experience in working with the North Carolina online global programs and how he has used online business development tools to help grow his exports in light of challenging circumstances. Jonathan, over to you.
Thank you, Adrian, and thank you for that great explanation and run-up to my point. And this is my favorite slide. They always sneak this one in. It's never in the draft that I get. It's always in the final version for anybody that I'm talking to. And what this is my awful, horrible website that we used to have. And as a DEC member, yes, I was ashamed of it, because all DEC members know, if you know anything about website globalization, the worst thing you could see is that Google Translate button at the top middle of that screen, which basically means you are putting your translation and what your words that you want to mean something in Google's control, meaning that what you say could be something totally different. And so what happened with my company at Advanced Super Abrasives, like most exporters, you know, I'm on the road 20, 26 weeks out of the year, flying, you know, to Europe, South America, Asia, conducting business in person, and the pandemic hits. And all the airports are shut down, and you can't get in and you can't get out. And so what do you do? And so what we decided at Advanced Super Abrasives is look internally. What can we do to reach our customers now that we can't get on a plane? And working with our state trade promotion agency, the EDPNC, who had been beating on us for the past 2-3 years to do website globalization, we finally said, you know what? We have the time. We can't travel. We can't even get in a car and drive to New England, can't get in a car and go further south, can't go anywhere. So what do? So we said, let's work on our website globalization. And IBT was a partner with EDPNC, still is. And so we said, hey, we want to find a good partner. And actually, originally we didn't talk to IBT. We were actually in contract negotiations with another company. And EDPNC said, no, you need to talk to these guys before you go anywhere. And so I interviewed, obviously, the other vendor, and then I interviewed IBT. And what I found was their expertise and hands-on experience really matched my small business persona. IBT has a lot of experience all around the world, has done a lot of websites, but they understood my branding, the culture that we have at my company, what we were looking for. They took the time to really pay attention to what our needs were. And so we said, okay, let's start with this. First, let's redo the US website, which you're seeing a little bit of that there. But then let's also look at our 2 largest markets that we know we could easily gain customers in. And so obviously, like most exporters, what's that? Canada and Mexico. So we created a website with a .mx for Mexico and a .ca for Canada. What we were surprised to find out was how much of a difference that actually made. Even though we had been selling in Canada for well over a decade, even though we've been in Mexico for 15 years selling, what a difference a website and social media marketing really played in our export sales. And this is during a pandemic, when everybody else was trimming, when everybody else was laying off, when everybody else was, furloughing and everything else. We found ourselves busy. And why do we find ourselves busy? Because November of last year, our Mexico and Canada websites went live, and our social media marketing campaigns. And we went from, let's say, 20 to 40 visitors from Mexico and Canada a month coming to our US website to having, 2,000 to 3,000 visitors to the Mexico website, 1,000 to 2,000 visitors a month. This is monthly. This isn't, over the year. This is monthly, 1,000 to 2,000 visitors a month to the Canadian website. Going from our distributors and reps cold calling customers for quotes to Mexico. Last report I got, we had over 80 requests for information or quotes, basically 80 reach outs. In Canada, you're going again from cold calling to, let's say 10 to 20 or even 40 reach outs a month. So, I mean, if you really put that into context of how much business that you're getting just from having a website and social media marketing, it's really hard to put it into numbers. What I can do is I can put it into ratios. We went live in November with Mexico and Canada. We've been doing business in Mexico for the past 15 years, so since 2006. We are hopefully at the end of October, between January and October of 2021, we'll have done more in revenue to Mexico than the past 15 years combined in revenue to Mexico. So when I talk about website globalization, to me, not only is it transformative because we're in a pandemic and things are changing, but it's transformative because your exports can exponentially grow. I mean, we're proving it right now in Mexico. We've been in Mexico for 15 years, but it's just growing and growing and growing. And yeah, Mexico is a great place for nearshoring. There's some stuff nearshoring and everything else, but it's really the website and this social media marketing that they're showing right now on the screen that makes the difference. It makes it targeted. So that means if my distributors or reps are going to start going to trade shows again, we can target social media for that. If there's particular products or industry segments that we're really hot in, and it's hot in Mexico or Canada, we can target that. We can target geographically. And that's what's so great about working with IBT is that, I get a monthly report from them. What's my website doing? What's the SEO searches? What's working? What's not working? And then on the social media side, we get to discuss, and I get to, they get to do a proposal of, hey, we would like to do this. And I get to go in and say, I want to focus on this, this, and this. Right now for Canada, we have a trade show. Believe it or not, there is a trade show going to happen in October in Massachusetts. I know everybody's picking themselves off the chair because it's unheard of. Massachusetts trade show people in person. I don't know what to tell you. But they are going to have it towards the end of October. But what we're seeing is a lot of Canadian customers wanting to go to that trade show. So what did we do for the month of September? We were hammering social media, telling them, hey, we're going to have our salespeople at this trade show. If you're going to be able to come in to Massachusetts, come on in and visit us at the booth, and really target different, we didn't want to do it all over Canada. You obviously don't want to send it to British Columbia because the chances are they're going to travel from British Columbia to Massachusetts. But if they're in that eastern part of Canada, you can geographically target them. I mean, even going as far over as Michigan, let's say, and just north in Canada. So you can geographically target your marketing strategy. You can see where your customers or your potential customers are visiting your website from. You can get a report every month of, I see a lot of people are visiting us from Mexico City, but I see some in Tijuana, and I see some in Chihuahua, and I see some here and some there. Great. That's wonderful. And you can target that with social media or different products or things. You can see how well each one of your pages is doing. But from a business owner standpoint, and working with our reps and distributors, the one thing they said is that it's transformative because they have something in their local language that's basically is a .mx or .ca, which means that we're serious about the market. And so from a small business perspective, when we go in and we don't have the gravitas, so to speak, of a large multinational corporation, this website globalization means even more because to the customers in that country, it means we're dedicated. We have put the money in it to actually do this. And what's funny about it for you DEC members, because you all are well aware of STEP grants and stuff like that, STEP grants can be used to pay for website globalization. So, you already know all the contacts to get STEP grants. We're showing you a great company to use in IBT Online to get your website globalized. So you have all the resources, you have all the knowledge. But the thing that shocked me the most, other than just the exponential growth of exports, was how easy it was to create these websites. A lot of people are just saying, hey, I don't know, I'm not a website guru, I'm not a webmaster, I don't know what I'm doing, SEO searches, stuff like that. IBT was a great partner in sending us huge lists of keywords. And we would go through and be like, whoa, there's no way, that's not even close. And then we'd mark those off, and then we would put things that we'd say, oh, well, you're missing this keyword or that keyword, or we would ask our reps in those countries, what's a keyword? What's hot? What are they talking about? What's the slang, so to speak, that you guys use? Because normally when people are doing internet searches, they're going to use whatever comes easiest. And a lot of times it's not a, in my industry, you would say it's a super abrasive grinding wheel. Some people call them grinding rocks. Some people call them grinding bricks. Some people just call them grinding stones. There's a lot of different names for grinding wheels. Some people just call them grinding wheels. But those keyword searches, especially locally, are very important. Or if there is hot markets or industry segments, you want to make sure you have those keyword searches as well. And that's what really surprised me, is how easy the process was. IBT Online walking us through it hand in hand, keeping us on task. We would have a Microsoft project database that we would upload stuff to, and pictures and files and stuff. And that was the other thing. How much stuff do you already have? I mean, all of you have pictures of your products, you have brochures, you have everything else. You may even have them translated into 18 different languages, but you're only looking at maybe 1 or 2 websites to globalize. It's great to have all that information, and it's great to give that to a partner like IBT Online, because then they can work with you to really utilize the resources that you have. And for a small business, of 40-ish people that we have here in rural Western North Carolina, to be able to sell to 28 countries around the world, to be able to grow our exports exponentially during a pandemic, it really, I can only point it to website globalization, because the markets where we've done website globalization, like Canada and Mexico, we've had the largest growth. And so I can tell you, from my personal experience as a business owner, we're picking 2 more markets to do right now. And we're getting near to that 1-year anniversary of Canada and Mexico. And what better time to start 2 new websites? And we're in the selection process right now of, we're going to do it in Asia, are we going to do it in South America, are we going to do it in Europe, is it going to be a mixture, what are we going to do? But we're going to select 2 websites, and so we'll have 4 website localization projects that hopefully will be completed in the next few months. Canada and Mexico are done, 2 new ones, and then I'd like to do 2 to 3 every year until I hit every market that we're in, and then some. I, like most of you that are exporters, yeah, I'm in 28 countries. Why can't I get to 60? Why can't I get to 80? Why can't I get to 100? I'm only a small business. I only have X amount of resources. But what's great about the website globalization and the social media marketing and working with IBT is that your resources almost become even more exponential than your export sales, because you have a great team in IBT that you can rely on to help you with the social media posts. You don't have to be a Facebook wizard or a WhatsApp wizard or whatever. And they also have the expertise to tell you, where is Facebook popular? Where is Facebook not popular? Most of you probably wouldn't be surprised if I told you that LinkedIn is more popular in Canada than Facebook, but Facebook's way more popular in Mexico than LinkedIn. That's just the differences in each country and their cultures. You probably wouldn't be surprised that the majority of people that visit my website in Canada do it from exactly what you're on: laptop, computer, desktop. How about in Mexico? Majority is all mobile phones. And again, that's different. So how does your website and how does your social media posts and videos and everything look? And that's what IBT Online can help you with. So I can tell you, we're very successful. We're very happy. During a pandemic, we were able to break monthly revenue sales records during a pandemic in 2021, which is great. I only see 2022 getting even better, as most of you probably are seeing as well. Growth in your markets, growth in everything. Yes, are we having supply chain issues? Of course, everybody is. But one great thing is that if you can work on website globalization and you can grow your exports and you can grow your footprint and your branding, now's as good a time as ever to do it. That way, when the trade shows do come back, like with what we're going through right now, I have the website in Canada and I have the social media presidents to say, hey, I know you guys aren't having trade shows yet. Well, there's one in Massachusetts if you're coming. And then when we do have trade shows in Canada, I already have all that legwork already done, where we can say, hey, Joel, let's do a social media post. We're going to be at this trade show in Canada, or we're going to be down in Mexico City for, a Fab Tech or something like that. Let, these particular groups know that we're going to be there at booth number whatever. And then we're going to get even more business, because then when we do get to see them in person, you have this beautiful website, social media presence that they already know you by, but now they get to meet you in person and you seal the deal. So I'm going to leave it at that, because I know Joel has a lot of stuff to go over, a lot of great information. And if you have any questions at the end, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Jonathan, thank you so much. That was that was a great overview, and a lot of salient points made there about the importance of keywords, the importance of language, the importance of consumer preference, and how they utilize your website and how they consume your social media. And that's a little bit about what I'm going to go over very briefly here when I talk about website localization for Mid-Atlantic exporters. Jonathan talked a little bit about the symptoms, but let me tell you what's going on under the covers, or let me tell you what's going on under the hood here in terms of why Google doesn't show your US website. And a lot of you have asked, or a lot of you would ask, why can't I just use my US website to go global? I have a great US website. Why can't I use it? Well, the reality is that there isn't just one Google. There's about 192 interconnected Googles that are country and region specific. And all of those little search engines deliver something called hyperlocal results, and results that it thinks are specifically relevant to the searcher depending on where they are. So in the next slide, you see a very good example here of just a search for a squeakless dog toys. So both Joelle and I have dogs that like to bark in the middle of webinars, and unfortunately, Joelle's at the office today, and mine is just behaving. But normally, we have this issue. So she decided to look for squeakless dog toys, and I did the same search from here in Florida. And what we found is a completely total different set of search results. Now, mind you, these are searches in the same language, and these are searches on the same search engine, which would be Google. But here you go. You have an entirely different data set of results. On the left-hand side, I have mine, which features websites like Chewy and Petco and Amazon.com and blog posts there from Yahoo. So stuff that would be relevant to me as a US consumer. But Joelle, doing the same search over in the UK, she got results for things that I have never even heard about in my life. Barksandbunnies.co.uk, timeforpaws.co.uk. And of course, she got results that are from those same websites, Amazon and Yahoo. But guess what? She got results that are from the localized versions of Amazon and Yahoo. So you can see localization at work even on this same search result, which is why you need that localized online presence for specific target markets that you have in international regions. Jonathan also mentioned keywords, and keywords are super, super important, especially slang. We have in Spanish, for example, and this is part of the work that we do when we create websites in Spanish in Latin America or in Spain. We need to make that distinction because vocabulary is different, vernacular is different, and the use of certain slang or certain words is different. So, for example, here we have an example of auto and coche, which are two ways to say car in Spanish. And depending on where you're localizing to, depending on what your target market is, you might want to use one or the other. Here is the usage and really more the keyword research for the use of auto versus coche in Mexico and Spain. Notice on the left-hand side of your screen, we have the search results for Mexico. And in Mexico, 73% of people say coche, only 27% say auto. So if you wanted to promote your, car accessories company or whatever it is that sells auto parts, you might want to use the word coche in your website and have that there because 73% of search results start with coche. Now in Spain, you most definitely want to use auto because 91% of people there say auto rather than coche. So you really want to make sure that you're using the right keyword in the right country so that you generate the right traffic to your website. So keywords are very, very important, and doing keyword research is very, very important. Now, keep in mind that translation and keyword research are only one part of having a localized website. So on the next slide, what you'll see here is some of the additional things that we need for website localization. There's a lot more that goes into optimized keyword best practice localization. Some of those things that we do are listed right there on the screen in terms of localizing your website. But we do that in order for search engines to be able to find you, to make it easy as possible for them to realize that your website is designed and built for that specific market. And again, because Google is search specific, just imagine it trying to comb through hundreds of billions of websites that are out there and trying to figure out which is the most relevant for the searcher. Well, you know, that the onus is on you as the website owner to make sure that it's speaking to Google and saying, hey, I'm relevant to that guy, I'm relevant to that gal, I want to be on that results page. And you need to have content on your website that speaks to that particular searcher. So to make it easier on Google you need to localize your website and your marketing, telling Google and other search engines that you are in fact relevant in those markets and to searchers in those markets. This includes things like hosting within the local target market, registering your domain names, like Jonathan said, having your .ca, your .mx, in the case of Canada and Mexico, and making sure, very important, that your website is compliant with local regulation in Europe, for example, with privacy laws and the GDPR, in Canada as well, among other factors. Now, done right, here's an example of how a localized website works and what the net results are. Here's a website that we built for a client who was targeting Australia, and we built that website on a .au domain. It is hosted on a server in Australia, and there is SEO work done for the local Australian market. As you can see, this B2B site, 95% of traffic comes from Australia, and 86% of traffic comes in fact from Australia and New Zealand, and 99% of it comes from English-speaking countries. So what this tells you is that Google thinks that this website is really, really relevant for the Australian market. It is basically not relevant for anyone else outside of that market. And the image of the right is, as Jonathan was stating, even in terms of regionalization, how you can target specific regions. Here in Australia, you see a great example of exactly that for this specific client. The majority of this client's prospects are in the southeast coast of Australia, Victoria, Queensland, and so on. So we targeted those regions for them, and in fact, most of the traffic is coming from New South Wales, Queensland, and Victoria. Now, here's another example of a client based out of Virginia. This company is called MicroExact, and MicroExact was interested in doing two key things. They wanted to create brand awareness for their company and position themselves in France and China as market leaders and search for new distributors. That really was their thrust. So we built for them localized websites in Mexico, in China, and in France for those regions. And we're happy to report that they have, in fact, generated new distributor relationships and are ranking extremely well on local search engines, Google.fr, and in China on Weibo. So if you're wondering how we can work with you, we have a couple of options in terms of what we can do for website localization. We have options that include the creation of, as we did for Jonathan, redesigning their US website. That would be on the right-hand side where we do custom websites. This is for companies that are interested in migrating to a new CMS like WordPress, website redesign, looking at revamping the content, looking at integrating a CRM like Salesforce or HubSpot. If you don't have that on your website, it really helps for automation and efficiency. And then on the left-hand side of your screen, you have the localization programs, which help you build that local web presence into specific target markets. We have options for 1 country, 2 countries, and a custom number of markets for you. We also offer e-commerce websites, and e-commerce is a growing, yes, Joelle.
Sorry, Agent, to interrupt, I feel really rude. Before we move on to the e-commerce, I just wanted to, we're starting to receive a few questions in saying, you know, how do we start? So I'd just like to launch a quick poll just to see whether anyone in our audience would like to hear a little bit more about website localization and the online global program and grants. So if you'd like for us to get in touch with you with some more information, or whether you're thinking about it, the more we can, you know, we're here to help, and very much just, you know, how do we get the process started? We've seen some questions coming through, which we'll get to in a moment, but just thought this was a good opportunity before we move on to the e-commerce. So I can see got a few people that would like to be contacted, which is fantastic, and a couple more that are thinking about it, which is excellent. So we really hope that, you know, seeing some value and what a localized and optimally localized business development online platform can really do for your business. So I'll close this poll now, and I'll have one more shortly. But Adrian, I'll hand over to you, and apologies again looking at the e-commerce.
No worries at all. Here's e-commerce, and e-commerce is just yet another option that is available to companies. It works for both B2C and for B2B. It is a growing trend. This example that you see here on the screen is a company called HardTrue. I believe they're a Virginia-based company, and we built for HardTrue localized websites in Germany, in the UK, and France for their tennis equipment, which serves both a B2C and B2B market. What that is a fully optimized e-commerce experience with payment gateways that are dedicated and that are specifically set up for those markets. We're happy to talk about two companies that are interested in going into e-commerce or that already have a robust US e-commerce presence and would like to replicate that into other markets. We're happy to have that conversation. We have packages that do that as well. Now, with that said, Joelle, over to you to talk about marketing.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I've got a pretty tough act to follow here, and I'm also very conscious of time. But I just wanted to take a moment to really have a think about the other side of obviously your online presence. Your website, the localized website, we said is your key, is your real estate, is your springboard, as we like to call it. You know, people want to be able to read, to find out more, and to really understand your product. But digital marketing and online international marketing really is the key to getting your brand out there, getting in front of people. And we get a lot of the question, but why do you need a social media strategy? Why do you need an online marketing strategy? I can get my website, we do the SEO, and you know, you launch it and people will find it. Unfortunately, as Adrian mentioned, it's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more competitive than that. But what is the beauty and what is very strong and powerful about online marketing these days is that it really is, you know, by expanding your marketing efforts, you really have the opportunity to show your content, to expand your audience, to target the people that you want to reach in your industry, people that are within the right target markets. And this will build brand awareness, social media and international search engine marketing as well. You have the ability to bring your brand content directly to your customers. And this is something that it wasn't possible necessarily offline, or it would take a lot more work. So this is one of the digital marketing is one of the most powerful ways to connect with your customers, helping you attract buyers to your products and services, and really showcasing what you have to offer and making it easy for them to find you. So this slide, I really just wanted to show how, you know, search engine, social networks, and consumer review are the three primary channels for online brand research. So if someone is in the buying mindset, they've got some purchasing intent, they'll look on Google, Yahoo, they look on the search engine, but then they'll turn to social media. And social media is really, or online tools in general, have really been leveling the playing field. You know, think about, for example, Click and Curl, a 10-person beauty company in the Midwest, so it could be in the Mid Atlantic. They can post, you know, a series of ads and social media content right next to Dior, you know, an international powerhouse with 100 million marketing budgets. To me, that's crazy. The power that online marketing gives you should really not be underestimated. And when you're going international, that's even more so. But before you can get started, there are a couple of things that you really need to make sure you have understood about your target audience, because otherwise you'll end up making some mistakes that would really, it can be expensive, and both in terms of time and money. So what is important to highlight and to understand is who your international buyer persona is. What is the buyer persona is who your ideal customer is. So is your buyer persona, is your ideal customer different from your domestic one? Probably so, and probably should be. So here we've got a couple of examples just to show you how your international buyer persona will differ from your domestic persona, but also how they will differ in different markets. So you will and you should have more than one buyer persona as you grow internationally. So here we've brought you an example from L'Oreal, which is frequently cited for how spot on they are with their international marketing. So L'Oreal USA, we can see here they have women in power, you know, in charge, diverse. Whereas if you look at the next slide here, we have L'Oreal Mexico, where we have a very different office environment, a lot more relaxed, still very modern, but very collaborative and really showing engagement between men and women, and really speaks to the customer, speaks to the cultural diversity, and speaks to what a Mexican consumer would be expecting to see. And the third one here, L'Oreal Brazil. Again, pretty different to the previous two. You can see here with the image in the background really reflects the market, really reflects, you know, they can tell they're in Brazil, but also the atmosphere look is modern, but still tied to nature, which is something that's very important to the Brazilian customer and how they would perceive the brand in that specific market. So this is just to highlight that you need to make sure you have your target audience clear. You know who you're going to target, and each buyer persona is clearly different, and your messaging needs to be respectful of that. This is just a great example to me of how different buyer persona interact with, for example, social media campaign. So this is an example from a Facebook campaign that we've run recently, promoting the same product using same imagery and messages, of course, localized and staying relevant to our local audiences. And here we run this campaign in Mexico and in the UK. And this really brings me back to the example that Jonathan was giving about Mexico and Canada, how different the engagement can be, but yet the results that you're getting at the end of that purchasing funnel are still very valuable. You just need to know what channel people are engaging in, where to spread your resources, and how to engage with them. But in this case, same campaign across Facebook. And in this case, if we looked at the results for the specific post in the UK, we've had 1,200 engagement just over, and we were super pleased with it. But then you look at Mexico, 20,400 and counting, and we were blown away with that. So if we stopped our analysis of this, we could then infer that our campaign in Mexico worked much better than what we were running in the UK, right? And that, unfortunately, is not necessarily the case, or fortunately for the UK market. So here again, just highlighting the engagements. But if we look at the full buyer's journey, here is where we get the full picture. So you need to know and really understand how each market specifically and, you know, specifically behaves online, how they react, and what the journey of research and purchasing looks like in a number of ways. For example, here for Mexico, we know that is a market that engages easily, very reactive, very responsive, a lot of time on mobile, on social media. They want an answer, they want it quick, they will Facebook message you, they will WhatsApp you, and very much take that conversation forward very quickly. But if you look at the actual conversions here, so we see the red and the blues is the number of people that have gone onto the website, number of people that have engaged, number of people that looked at the products. But then if you look at people that actually then purchase, is not that difference between Mexico and the UK. It's just that in the UK, you know, maybe a little bit frosty, we take our time before we get in touch with the company, we want to do our research. Whereas we know Mexico, we have a big engagement, a lot of inquiries, but they take a little bit longer to nurture. So we know from experience, basically, that you need to get those level of engagement in Mexico to get the same level of conversion that we would in the UK. And this just talks to your strategy. You need to make sure that you have a selective strategy for each individual target market, because your buyer persona will be different, the messaging they react to will be different, and the way that you can then monitor and evaluate success and your return on investment will also be slightly different between each market, and very different potentially from what you can see in the US. I do want to leave some time for Q&A, but I just wanted to really wrap up and just give a quick best practices around here. So for online marketing success, have a localized website as acting as your local springboard, your brochure, your endpoint where users can find more information, get to know you, and then get in touch with you. Get to know your audience, get to know your buyer persona and what the buyer's journey looks like. Set your goals. As I said, reporting and thinking back on when the return on investment is can only be possible if you've set your goals, you monitor them, and then you can clearly see where the results are coming from. Choose which platforms are worth your resources, and this will come with the research into the market. And you know, as we said, you know, we're here to help determine what best strategy we should be using for each industry, each individual company into each specific market. Engage with your audiences. Social media is fantastic because it offers both-way conversation, but do take the time to engage, answer all of your comments and all of your mentions. Look, analyze, and keep learning. A marketing strategy, a digital marketing strategy, is a moving animal. It will change, it will evolve, and if you can learn from what is going well and what's not going so well, then you'll be able to learn and improve the results as you continue. And that's why I always say, don't stop. Keep going, keep analyzing, keep reviewing, and optimize your campaigns. For those of you who might be interested, again, we have developed an online marketing program. Again, the most effective way to be found, understood, and do business in international markets. Our programs are built around search engine marketing, social media marketing, reporting analytics, but they can also include email marketing, content marketing, CRM, workflow, HubSpot integration. They're really there to be tailored to the needs of your company, the needs of the target market, who your buyer persona is, and what you're trying to achieve. So it's very much something that we develop together. And as Jonathan mentioned, it's something that continues to develop and we work on together as a collaborative approach, month on month, week on week, as we grow and we learn, and our strategy continues to grow stronger and stronger as our partnership does as well with our clients. So it's very much a collaborative approach where we're here to support and share as much expertise and do as much of the heavy lifting as possible, hopefully. Before I hand back to Adrian and Jonathan for the end of the webinar and Q&A, I just wanted to launch a very quick poll again, just to see if anyone here is thought about marketing, if anyone would like to for us to get in touch with you about potentially talking about what the online marketing programs could do for you, what fit could be there for you, and how we can, you know, work together in promoting, you know, and supporting your already existing international presence, or whether it's something that we can build together moving forward. Oh, that's fantastic. You can see some really good responsive. Thinking about it, a few that are interested in, so that we'll be in touch individually. And I'll just close this poll for the moment and hand back over to Adrian to have a look at a few takeaways and Q&A.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Joelle. What a great overview of the second and very important part of having an online presence, which is tools to drive traffic, engagement, and conversions. And it's an important part of, very important part of the strategy, in fact. So in terms of takeaways, the online global programs are here to make the internet work for you globally. They're here to generate revenue for you, to reach new markets, to have the tangible benefit of being found and being understood in those benefits, generate leads, generate sales, independent of what route to market you follow, whether it's B2B, B2C, or B2G, to grow from a brand perspective, your awareness, your credibility, and trust, and to own and measure your online presence. And as many of you know, STEP grant funding is available across the Mid Atlantic region, whether it's in North Carolina with the EDPNC, or in Virginia with the EDP, or in your individual states in Delaware with the Department of Commerce. They all have extremely strong funding available for these projects. The amounts vary a little bit, and we're happy to have that conversation one-on-one with you, but just to know that there is grant funding available to support you if you would be interested in pursuing this strategy. Now, as a takeaway on why do Mid-Atlantic exporters need online business tools, again, is because the world is online, has gone online, and will continue to go online into the future. And to communicate with your clients, your prospects, your future employees, and your suppliers, there are very few other cost-effective and really effective ways in terms of the net results that investing into your online presence and investing into a local online presence that speaks to prospects in your target markets and can help you communicate with them and can help you grow your revenues in those tools. There are effective online business development tools that are there to support you, localized websites, international online marketing, and together these have the potential of generating and unlocking revenue for you and new opportunities for you in your target markets. Jonathan, any last words regarding the deck?
No real last words regarding the NADEC other than to please pay attention to the NADEC monthly newsletters and everything. And please, if you have any feedback, please let me know because it's you guys why we do these webinars and events. So please keep the feedback coming. But I really want to thank IBT Online for a great job on this, not only for me personally in my business, but also in working with the local DECs and with the local state trade promotion agencies and putting on webinars like this that really help to educate and inform people on why website globalization is so important.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jonathan. And again, thank you for all the hard work that you do for NADEC and that NADEC does for exporters across the country, especially in these challenging times. It is an effort that is very, very, very well received and very well noted. So finally, Joelle, do we have any questions from our audience really quickly? I know we've gone way over time, but if we have any salient questions, I'm sure that Jonathan and
we had a few in, and I'm going to try and condense them. The topics seems to be quite similar. So a few questions that came in, maybe Adrian, for you. How do I apply for the online global programs? What are the grants available? How do I get started?
That is a load full, but here we go.
Yeah.
So you can start by communicating with your state development agency, or you can start by communicating with us. In either case, we sort of end up at the same juncture where we invite our state development partners into our fact-finding meetings, and the state partners are happy to discuss what sort of grant funding is available and how to apply for those. And we're happy to talk about how to apply for the online global programs and what those programs specifically entail, and to assess whether your company is a good fit for the program. So whether you start with your state development agency partners or you start with us, you'll note that our emails are located here on the screen for you. Happy to speak to anybody about about any additional questions that they have or about getting started with the online global programs.
Fantastic. I know we've got, hopefully I can squeeze one more in. This is for you. So I could answer this, but Jonathan, I think this is probably fairer coming from you. We've had a couple of people asking, I don't have a marketing team, we're a small company. How much resources does it take, for example, on a monthly basis, the marketing? How much content do you need to create? How onerous is it on the company to be able to have a successful marketing strategy?
It's actually very easy. I'm glad that they asked that question. I can tell you, I spend an hour a month on a web call with Joelle and the marketing team, going over results and everything from next, and we discuss a little bit about next month's or maybe future. But really, I maybe spend 4 hours a month getting content together for Joelle and her team, or reviewing things that they've put forth. What's great about working with IBT is that you're not a marketing guru, or at least I'm not. Maybe you are, but I'm not. And so Joelle and her team come together with marketing ideas based upon, maybe things that are working really well, or markets that seem to be trending, or pages that seem to be trending on your website for particular products, or maybe you just want to highlight certain things. And so you can discuss with Joelle and her team, these are the things I'd like to highlight. They will come back with some ideas on social media marketing, and then you can change them as needed. You may not like a picture, or you may not like this, or you may want to change this or that. But the amount of time that I spend is probably 5 hours a month total. And Joelle will tell you that I am the person on my team that actually goes through everything. Are there others here that can do it? Absolutely. But I wanted to be as involved in this process as much as I could before I start handing it over to somebody else internally here to work with Joelle and her team. So I can tell you it doesn't take a whole lot of time, especially for a business owner who's working crazy hours, as most of you are as well, just working crazy hours. I can tell you it's really not hard, and it doesn't take a whole lot of your time to do this. So if you can schedule, anywhere from 3 to 5 hours a month, that's what I said, a month, not a week, a month. you'll be very happy.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I think that's all we've got time for today. But if there is anything else, as Adrian mentioned, you've got our contact details on screen. Get in touch, and any further question that comes in, we look forward to them.
Great. Jonathan, Joel, thank you so much. It's been wonderful sharing this time with you today. Thank you for sharing your insights on online business development tools for the Mid Atlantic NADEC region. We will see you next time. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.